computer. Okay.
All right.
So,
Harry, you might want to mute everybody.
Okay, thanks, Adele.
thank you.
Thank you.
Well,
Tate, unmute Amy's host. I muted her back accidentally.
let me say that again.
Go ahead.
Welcome everybody to this the next episode of JSJ for your Animal Companion Study Group.
Yeah, it's great to have you all here. We appreciate you taking some time and spending a little bit of your evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are, learning about this beautiful art that has such a lovely place in our hearts.
Looks like we have a bunch of people popping on.
Yeah.
Heidi, Terry Matthews, howdy
Mary,
folks.
nice to see
Mary,
you all.
thank you for joining. We're just getting started. And since we are recording, we will, and have no idea who's going to see this in the future, we just want to let you know that a little bit about Jinshin Jitsu. It is an ancient Japanese hands-on healing art. And in this art, we work with 26 safety energy locks, which are pairs along the supervisors on the left and right side, as well as centers going down the main central of the body, up the back and down the front. We use our hands or feet, if that is what we're drawn to use, as jumper cables to keep the flow of energy moving through the body in a harmonious and balanced way. This being said, Jinshin Jitsu is not a substitute for Western medical
Services.
sure. But it is, however, a fantastic complement with whatever project you might have going on, whether that be physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. So, speaking of safety energy locks, that is our focus for today's study group. And we wanted to just keep it kind of general, touch on some of the basics around safety energy locks and kind of just have a little fun with it.
Yeah, keep it simple. It's always important to go back to your foundation, go back to the roots.
So we are going to start off with a little self-help, and we are going to be kind of, I'm going to say, just talking about the basics of the safety energy locks throughout the self-help. So sooner than attempt to fit all 26 safety energy locks into what might be a 10 to 15 minute self-help session, today is the 11th of July, so we're going to focus on safety energy lock 11, which is located on the back base of the neck to either side for the supervisor safety energy locks, or the center, right where that big vertebra is, T1, on the base of the neck. Safety energy lock 11, and actually we will invite you now to go ahead and connect with that safety energy lock. As I see most of you already are, kind of hooking your hand over your shoulder like a hanger. Drop your shoulders and exhale. It is what safety energy lock 11 is all about. Releasing, letting go of excess baggage, things that we don't need anymore, things that aren't serving our greatest good. Receiving a nice full inhale and letting it all go with the exhale. And as you find your rhythm with your breath, and jump back and forth from one side to the other, to the center. And we're gonna just touch on some basic aspects of safety energy locks while you guys relax into this. So, as we noted, they are in pairs on either side of the body, going down the front and up the back. And we also have safety energy lock centers going down the center of the body and up the center of the back. Safety energy locks are three-dimensional spheres of energy. They are the size of your fist or your dog's paw or your bird's claw, little foot. They are the size of the being's foot that is in question. Okay. So that being said, if you're working with a Chihuahua, you could essentially put your hand on a Chihuahua's back and be connecting with all of the safety energy locks at one time. So three-dimensional spheres, and we are taking a book out of our friend and colleague's repertoire, Kelly Mount. She had the fantastic idea of bringing the plasma ball in to kind of give a physical idea of the safety energy locks. You see here it has a center that is emitting energy off, right? And so we see that we can connect with the safety energy lock with a finger. We can connect with the safety energy lock by not even touching it and just hovering over top. You see that the draw there is a little weaker than if we actually put the hand on, but it is connecting with that safety energy lock, which is something that we like to apply when we have an ouchy area or a sensitive area that might not want to be touched. We actually see this a lot with horses who tend to be very sensitive to the movement of the energy, or dogs, as the case may be with our beautiful white polar bear, Mahina. So they're spheres. We can connect that with them with our fingers, with the palm. Now I like to note that when I put my palm on the safety energy lock and also have my fingers, you see where that energy is going straight into the palm. And I find that this is actually something that I kind of learned, and it may or may not be true, but it's true to me, through playing with the plasma ball, that when I connect with my safety energy locks with my palm, I can feel the energy moving more so than if I'm connecting with just the tips of my fingers. Something to play around with. The quality of touch. So, as I said, you can connect with the safety energy lock by hovering over the safety energy lock, by lightly touching your hand to the safety energy lock. Some folks like to really get in there and apply a little bit of pressure, which is where that spur off of Jin Shinjitsu that is called acupressure came from. So there are these several different ways to connect with those safety energy locks. And I want to take a break real quick and just bring our awareness to some of the quickies in case you want to switch up your self-help while we're going here. One of the quickies for connecting with the 11 is holding the index finger. And we can see these quickies, all of these in, is it Self-Help Book 2?
Yes.
Which is all about the safety energy locks. Okay. So this is one of them. I invite you to connect with that if you're drawn. Another one is maintaining the one hand on 11, the opposite 11, and then taking the other hand and connecting with your ring finger in that mudra. Okay, this is part of one of the supervisor flows as well. Or you can take that other hand and connect with your safety energy lock 25, right down your sits bone, the same side as you're holding your 11. Okay. So the quality of touch, and this is one out of our good friend and colleague Jude's book. She likes to relate the safety energy lock to a racket. So if you've ever played a racket sport, whether it be tennis or racquetball or squash, well, and other sports, golf and baseball, where you're making contact with the ball, the instrument that you're making contact to always has a sweet spot, right? So say this is the tennis racket. I can hit that ball anywhere on the surface of the tennis racket, and it is going to apply an opposite motion, right? It's going to hit that ball back the way it came from. But when we hit that ball in the sweet spot of our racket or our golf club or our baseball bat, then that's when we make the best connection, and that's when we have the best result. So that being said, you know, our safety energy locks are gracious in their size. We don't have to, like in acupuncture, find that pinpoint spot. We can generally connect with that area and know that we're connecting with the safety energy lock. At the same time, we can, and this is what I like to do, is kind of work my fingers a little bit and apply a little bit of pressure to find that sweet spot where I might be holding a little tension. And you'll know when you find it, it'll speak to you. And then I release that pressure and just connect gently with the safety energy lock.
What if I'm working with an animal? Do I want to do that same thing?
With an animal, me personally, I do not look for that sweet spot. I do not apply pressure because I don't want to get bit. You know, animals don't have their words to speak with us. If we're really good communicators, then they will be sending us messages if we're open to receive them. But one of the ways that they can communicate, and again, this is something that we've seen in horses, where if you hit a sweet spot that's they're holding tension in, they're going to turn and let you know somehow that that hurts. And that could be a nip on the hand, that could be a side kick from the leg. So we really want to be gentle in your connection with the safety energy locks with animals.
Generally, less is more in my experience.
Less is more. Well, the time flies. So we've talked about how to connect, the shapes, the different ways that we can touch, the quality of touch. For the second portion of the study group, which is connecting with our animals, Amy's going to work with our beautiful girl Mahina, who is
Currently sleeping on her bed.
Currently sleeping on her bed, where she spends about 90% of her time. And we're going to show you the locations of all 26 of the safety energy locks as they are located on a dog. This you can find in your Jin Shinjitsu for Animals book on page, is that 8?
This is the old book, so it'll be on page 8. In
Page
the new
8.
book, it's a couple pages later, I believe.
But we have several different species in there, horses, cats, birds. I think there's a guinea pig. And the locations are all spelled out very well in that book. One more thing I wanted to touch on, though. This is one that's spoken to me over the years, and I got this from a Living the Art class with Sarah Harper, where she recounted a story, more a memory that she had of being in the office when Mary was practicing with clients. And she said that in between sessions, she would often see Mary coming back from the bathroom, maybe from where she washed her hands in between sessions. And she would, as quickly as this, walking down the hallway, she would do a main central flow, just like this, touching on each of the 7 main chakras going down the center, adds the lips, the nose, the throat. And as quickly as that, she would give herself a main central flow, self-help. This I relate to like dominoes, right? You set up a line of dominoes. We all did this when we were little, I imagine, or at least have seen it. And you just touch that first domino, right? You don't have to hold it. If you held it, actually, the energy wouldn't go anywhere. You just touched it, and it connected all the way down that energy flow, all the dominoes, right? Just from that one initial touch. And so this practice has come in to be very beneficial for our practice with Mahina, because she is super sensitive to the work, and she will not sit for us if we leave our hands in one spot for more than
A couple of seconds.
10 seconds if we're lucky.
Yeah, she's super relaxed.
After 5 seconds, she's head up, ears up. What are you doing?
she's looking
She'll
at
give
you.
us a couple more seconds before she gets up and walks away.
Yeah.
So going through the 26 safety energy locks with Mahina, we're going to connect with them very quickly. But we invite you, if your pets
Nearby.
for babies are nearby
Mhm.
and ready to receive, to go ahead and connect with them and play around with us here a little bit. So we're going to move the camera, and I'm going to pass the torch off to Amy.
Bear with us while we spin you around.
All right. And here is our beautiful girl waiting patiently. Yes, hi, Mommy. This is Mahina. You may have met her a couple weeks ago when we led the session. Say hi, Mama. She knows something's going on.
Are you the center of attention?
Yeah.
Yes, you are. You're so perfect. I love you. Mhm.
Mhm.
All right, so let's just jump right in. And initially, we're looking at the 1. That's our prime mover. And Tait, I don't know if you're going to be able to just move the laptop around. We have the 1 on the inside of her knee. So it can be relatively a nice spot to just get in there and give some little massages.
I'm having a hard time seeing what I'm.
Yeah,
Okay, is it good? Okay. And this for all animals is a very, they can really feel the energy start to move when you connect with those ones. Mama. Yeah.
And from the 1, we move up to the base.
Excuse me, Tate, if you could just raise the camera up a little bit more.
There
Is
you
that
go.
good? Sorry, I'm having a hard, okay.
How about you sit and
That-
watch it?
Oh, almost.
There we go. Okay. So then we go to our 2s, and those are going to be just above that hip area, in between kind of the hip and the base of the rib cage. And like Tait mentioned earlier, depending on the size of your animal companion, that will determine whether or not when you put your hand here, you're only connecting with the 2, like on a horse, or if you're connecting with a whole bunch of stuff, like on a Chihuahua.
And this is our natural chiropractor, the
Mhm.
2s.
And so then we can come all the way up to the 3s,
It's coming out here.
which are just at the top of that shoulder blade. And you maybe noticed that instead of lifting my hand off of her, I walked my fingers up her spine. That is super helpful with animals. Are you all done? Was that enough? She needs a break now.
Welcome to our world.
So the 4s pores are right behind the ears at the base of the head, the base of the skull. And she actually loves having her head and her face massaged. So this works in our favor for me showing you the pores.
The windows to our
The
soul.
windows to our soul. And the 5s are on the inside of the ankle. I don't know if Tate, are you going to be able to jump in there and
Right here on that little paper thin piece of skin in between the bones, right here, just above the ankle. Well, on the ankle, on the inside of the ankle. And oftentimes we're connecting with 2 safety energy locks here, which we'll get to the other one in just a minute.
And the 6 is just forward of that.
You're such a good girl.
Such a good girl. Where you going?
Come here,
Come
sweetheart.
here, come lay in your bed.
That's a good girl. Go see mama. Go see mama.
So like I was saying, the 6 is just forward of that 5.
Okay, we've got treats.
We've got treats.
We've got bribery. And that's great teaching point with animals, you know. Sometimes they like to be rewarded for their work, which is fair. Okay. So the 6s.
The 6s are going to be just forward. So we had the 5 on the inside, and then the 6 is just forward of that towards the toes.
On what would be the bottom of our human foot
Mhm.
on the inside.
And then 7 would actually be our big toe, which clearly they don't have a big toe. So then we're looking more at the dew claw area. I don't know how well you can see that.
Out of here. Okay.
That's pretty good. We got through 7 of our safety energy locks with her.
Okay, so we can use this. We can go back to page 8 here
Back
until
to
Mama
page
comes
8.
back to be with us.
And speaking of page 8, we are on safety energy lock 8, which is going to be just to the outside of the knee. You can see right here, we've got safety energy lock 8 on the outside of the knee. And then we move into back along the spine. Safety energy lock 9 and 10 are pretty much right on top of each other. Let's see, she's joined us again. She had a little break.
Which brings us to safety energy lock 11.
Well, we did 9 and 10. Those are just right up on that shoulder blade area.
And with most animals of the dog size or smaller, we can connect with the 9, 10, and 3 all at the same time, just with hand placement on the shoulder blade area.
So we do 9, 10, 3, and Mahina 11 is coming up here.
Right at the base of the neck.
Right at the base of the neck. And then 12, thy will, not my will, is here. 13, we're coming back around in between those front legs. Let's see if we can move the camera a little bit. You can kind of see my fingers under there, just in the center of her breastbone. That's safety energy lock 13. 14 is moving us down to the base of the rib cage. And then we slide on down to 15, which is going to be in the groin. This is washing our hearts with joy and laughter.
This is one area where she will let us hang out for just a few seconds.
Mhm.
When we get home and she comes to greet us out on the porch before we come in, she will always give us her back end so we can rub on those 15s.
Yeah.
Huh.
And from there, we're going to move down to the outside of her leg, to the outside of the ankle. Just on the other side of the 5, which is on the inside of the ankle, we find safety energy lock 16. And then we travel all the way back to the front of the body, to the front legs, the wrist, to safety energy lock 17. I was going to say her front legs are extremely sensitive. It's rare that she lets us touch them, much less have anything to do with them for more than just a second. So that was pretty impressive. So then just on the opposite side of that 17, on the inside at the base of our thumb or the base of their dew claw is safety energy lock 18. Such a good girl. And if we move up from safety energy lock 18, we have safety energy lock 19, and that's essentially right at our elbow. But for our puppy dog friends and kitties and horses, that elbow area is snugged right up next to their body. Right here. Yeah, you're being so good. And from safety energy lock 19, we're going to move all the way up to her head, just above her eyes. Safety energy lock 20. And this is the world of working with animals as a live demo. She tends to be a nervous drinker. So when she is a little anxious about something, that's where she goes. So she's soothing herself right now. She's getting a little drink of water, and then she's going to drizzle it all over the floor and my feet.
Interestingly, you may have noticed that she was allowing me to rub on her nose, on her
21.
21s right there,
Mhm.
quite a bit. And that is the one safety energy lock where she, if she weren't on stage right now,
Yeah.
she would just let us connect with that
all day.
all
long.
day.
Yeah, especially if we're doing 21s and 22s at the same time. That is her most favorite thing.
In
Yeah.
fact, we'll take our hands off of her 21s and she will,
Yeah.
she'll get that hand right back in there. Yeah.
So now you can see I'm rubbing on her 22s and Tait's on the 21. And like Tait said, if she wasn't on stage, she would just lie down and be super content to just do this for the rest of the afternoon, especially because he has freeze-dried turkey bits that he's giving her. So from here, we look at safety energy lock 23. And let me see if I can spin a little. Nope, she's out of here again. Safety energy lock 23 came into our world talking about our destiny. And that's right at the back base of the rib cage, as opposed to the 14s are on the front base of the rib cage. So on Mahina, that's going to be right about here. She's being so good. And that is safety energy lock 23. 24 has us back to her little feet. Coming down here, past the 1 and the 8, all the way down. Her drive-by Jinshin Jitsu session. And that 24 is difficult to get my hand on while she's moving. The 24 is going to be just below the 16 on the outside of her back foot. You can see I'm kind of kind of got my hand in there now. Oh, good girl. Good job, Mama. And then safety energy lock 25.
It's another sensitive one for her.
Yeah, she does all right as long as she's getting treats and waiting patiently with a fountain of drool coming out of her mouth.
She is our janitor, among other things. She lets us know when it's time to clean the floor,
Yeah.
which is often.
Often. German Shepherd. So from safety energy lock 25 on the rump, we move up to safety energy lock 26.
The last but not least of
Which
our
is
safety energy
Right
lock.
here in her armpit. Yeah.
We had a neighbor refer to her German Shepherd as German Shedder, which we thought was quite appropriate.
And she's blowing bubbles for you all. I don't know if you can see that or not. All right, and now that we've tortured her enough, we're gonna let her rest.
Well, we hope we didn't make you guys dizzy with that. So there are the locations, as clear as mud, of the safety energy locks on a big white polar bear.
And in that, we find that, again, less is more. So if you can do a quickie for a really long time, you're going to get so many more brownie points with your friend than going through all 26 at once. That is really not the best way to do a session with an animal, but for the point of demonstrating that to you all, that's why we decided we would share that today. But ideally, like we were saying, if we could just do this with her all day,
That's her jam.
that's her jam. That's where she wants to be.
But I do want to note that normally, under normal practicing with our puppy dog circumstances, when she gets up and walks away, the session is over,
Yes,
right? We don't want to force
we don't
ourselves.
chase after her like we
On
did
her.
just now.
We
Because
let her come back
know.
to us when she's ready,
Mhm,
because that's a way of that they have with communicating with us, right?
mhm.
They never sign up for what we're bringing to their table.
Yeah, she had no idea we were going to have her be on center stage for the study session today.
So just an important note with working with animals, and that's one way of communicating they have that is very clear for us to recognize. When they walk away, that means they're good, and the session for the time being is over.
Yeah, maybe they'll come back in 30 seconds or 30 minutes, but at that moment, then let it be and let them process, and they'll let you know when they're ready for a little more.
And that brings us to the end of today's study group. So we would like to
Let's
open up
it up.
the platform
Looks like
to
we've got.
any
Oh,
questions. And
thanks, Terry. Terry says, great, nice job. Mahina is a sweetie. Thank you.
if anybody has any questions or comments or anything they would like to share.
Yeah, go ahead and unmute yourself,
Mhm.
and we'll see what we can do as far as addressing those thoughts.
Oh, actually, before you do that, I forgot one part from page 11 of
What Mary says.
what Mary says. She says, the very urge to ask questions proves the existence of an answer waiting. So
Thank you to Mary, and thank you to Jiro. Thank you to Adele. Thank you to all of you and all of our fellow Jinshin Jitsuers around the globe for being part of this amazing community. Like I said in the beginning, this is definitely, it's got a sweet spot in our hearts, and it's just such a blessing to be able to share it with all of you, even if it's only for a half hour.
it looks like we get to meet Lynn's little lion there. Look at that beauty.
Look, yeah.
Who is this, Lynn? Oh, you're still muted. There you go. Hello, cutie.
Who's this?
If you're talking to us, Lynn, we cannot hear you.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with your volume.
It says you're unmuted, but we have no sound.
Well, I have to say that that plasma ball is really cool. And I'm wondering, have you tried that with different people, and if the palms are different on certain people on the energy versus fingertips? Have you seen a difference?
Good question. And no, we have not. But one thing we did notice when we were going to log in to the computer, we had the plasma ball plugged into the same circuit as the computer and sitting right beside the computer. And the computer was freaking out.
Yeah, it did
Oh
not
my
want
God.
to let me log in. So
Yeah.
that's my hand.
Right.
Let's see.
And actually, it's kind of connecting
Yeah, it's going towards your fingertips more.
more towards her fingers. And now it
Mhm.
was moving from the palm up to the fingers. That's
Wow.
And I
interesting.
wonder if that's my heartbeat that we're seeing.
Wow. And then let me see Tate's again.
You know, so when I
Come
put my
sideways.
when I put my palm,
Wow.
it does, when I put my fingers on the top, it does go more towards the fingers. So I wonder if it's just a directional thing with the plasma ball.
Or if you
Huh.
put your hand on the side, then.
Well, now
that's-
with it on the side, it's definitely connecting with my palm. My fingers are touching.
Hmm.
You can
Because I
see-
feel like I have more of a connection from my fingertips, from the ends of my fingers than the palm. And I wasn't sure if it was because my palms are more calloused or not, or, it's harder for me to feel that.
Well, and that's a great point, Carrie. I mean, we are all unique
Different.
individuals, right? And what affects one way, or what one feels one way, another will most definitely feel differently. So yeah, definitely don't take my experience as the end all be all, but something just to play around with in your practice.
Yeah.
You know.
Buy a plasma ball.
Yeah.
Where's the fun?
What were these, like the 80s, the 70s? I forget.
From Spencer's Gifts.
Yeah. Thanks, Carrie.
Yeah, that was a great point.
Okay, I
Anyone
think Lynn's trying to get on again
Okay.
on a different, Lynn, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, we
Yes,
can.
we can.
I have I'm using the cell phone mic. This is Shadow.
Oh,
Okay, hi,
Shadow.
Shadow.
Gorgeous.
Way to be resourceful, Lynn.
I know. We thought we just didn't have to rescue.
She's a rescue kitty.
Huh?
She's been with us for many years, and she loves her 20s and 21s.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
This is,
Wow.
We call her Shadow because no matter where you are, she's right behind you.
Cutie.
Love that mane.
Yeah, and the 21s are responsible for releasing us from our own mental bondage when they are being harmonized. And so interesting when they're out of balance, when they are in disharmony, then that's speaking to just really feeling like you're stuck and you're not really able to get out of whatever place you're in, whether that's physical, mental, emotional.
And that can be, as Amy said, self-imposed mental bondage, or that can be imposed from another source. Definitely goes both ways.
Like our poor Mahina, we were holding her hostage and giving her chin.
Yes.
Shadow's
Externally.
other sweet spot is at the base of her tail. the
Uh-huh.
25.
The 25.
Well, she is precious, boy.
Mm,
And when you
mm,
talked about Mahina backing into you, Shadow will do the same thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah. And that's another way that they can communicate with us, to let us know where they would like to receive, right? Just by moving their body under our hands.
Yeah, and in fact, I find Mahina does that a lot with me when I come home to greet her. And my intention is to put my hands, petting her in some way. And inevitably she'll scooch around so that my hands are someplace else. And if I keep moving my hands to where I want them to be, she will keep scooching to get back into that other position. And I've learned just to have to respect that. She is a very intelligent and wise teacher.
So the
I
25.
have a story when I went to Louisville a couple months ago for Adele's class. It was specifically to work with a cat. And we went to the rescue farm and I got to work with the cat and had the very same experience. I started with the 13 and the 10, and she proceeded to move her body around exactly where she wanted me to have my hands. And she did that over and over again, moving around under my hands. And she ended up on her back with her legs splayed out and my fingers on her 15s.
Wow.
Oh,
That's
It
quite the compliment coming
from
from
a
a
It was
cat.
Mhm.
such an amazing experience
Yeah.
to have her go to quite the vulnerable place.
Mhm.
Yeah, showing a lot of trust.
Yeah.
A lot of
And I
trust.
have a picture of that, Lynn.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Oh, please send it to me.
Yeah, I want to say we had Mahina it was a while before she showed us her belly. Yeah,
mhm.
a while. And I'm not 100% sure on the quantifier, the timeline for that, but I would say at least 6
I was going to
months
say at least a half a year. Yeah.
before she rolled over to show us her 15s. And even now it's few and far between. It's usually right before we're going to take her on a walk, early in the morning, she'll stretch herself out on her back on her bed, and then we get to do belly rubs.
Mhm.
It's definitely a special moment because, like I said, it doesn't happen very often.
We
Yeah.
are so blessed and fortunate when they talk to us.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing, Lynn.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any questions or something
Comments
to
or
share?
thoughts or...
Okay.
Well, again, thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure having you all here and sharing this
Yeah.
space. And hopefully like Tait said, our quickie going through all the 26 safety energy locks didn't make you too dizzy.
And just so everybody has it on their radar, the next study group session will be on Thursday, the 21st of this month. We have Susan Kempfer starting out with the spleen flow self-help, and Robin Mackay doing the animal demo with the spleen flow.
Nice.
So tune back in,
Yeah.
and we will look forward to connecting with everybody again soon. Thank you so
Love
much.
you. Thank you.
Love you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.